titles and newspapers, plots against the government and talks of treason against the government, against the president, and he silenced them all. And for your information, again, in universities, this never happened, that a university lecturer or a model researcher to talk about research. He wrote an article against research policies, and the university officials insulted him, and they provoked a group to raise slogans against him. We shouldn't forget these. When I mentioned the fact that Mr. Mussawi, Khatami, and Mr. Hashemi, this is right, I should say that, compare them together. In a meeting where your wife and Mr. Khatami was present, he elaborates on this. He says that the time of reform is a continuation of construction. In this government, this trend has been harmed, and we want Mr. Mussawi because he wants to continue the same path. That means what Mr. Hashemi, the aristocracy Mr. Hashemi started in this country, is going to be continued. The worries are not, people know all about this. You said that you are proud of Mr. Hashemi's support for you. What does that mean? It sure has a meaning. We believe that he's actually the main player. We know who is running whose electoral campaign committee and what meetings, who is organizing those meetings and campaign. There is a connection. You cannot say there is no connection. We cannot close our eyes. People can't ignore all these. What are these chains? I'll cite some examples for you. One of them I just mentioned. Tolerating the opposition. What's happening in this government? 320,000 titles insulting my government. We never closed down any newspaper, nor threatened anybody, nor pressured anyone. They're still writing things against us, in your support and against us. They're still busy writing. You raised different issues against this government. Let's compare. That's why, to remember what happened in the past 3 governments and what's happening now. You said that relations with the clerics, you mentioned that. How many times did you visit the clerics during 8 years as Prime Minister? Let us know. Let us and the people know the relation between this government and the clerics is a very good one. Why do you raise such a claim? It does not mean violation of freedom. It's a very good, we have very good ties. And I'm surprised why people who have not talked about main issues, more important issues, why do they go to such details and try to actually get to general conclusions? You said that the government is not abiding by the law, is acting like dictators. Do you remember the time you were in charge? Against the constitutional law, the minimum powers of the president, you strip the president of his rights. You had to have your ministers confirmed, but what you did was the late Imam had to interfere, and he appointed a group to select and to approve of the cabinet ministers. That means the president himself had no authority to deal with that because of what you did. Among the MPs, who dare talk against you? Do you remember what your friends did? Once a group of parliamentarians voted against you, and it was done in secret, of course. The voting was done in secret. The names were extracted, they were publicized, and they called them American Islam, and some of them had to go home and retreat from politics. This atmosphere of tolerance, this is what happened in that government and the government after that. I do not want to mention some of these issues, but I really have to, because you're mentioning some points which makes me raise such issues. Why do you consider yourself and talk on behalf of the Islamic establishment? I had my own position regarding the Holocaust, and the leader approved of that, and the nation approved of that. Who in this establishment is against that and has another, a different opinion? If you're talking on behalf of the people, people in different situations have announced their positions. You accuse the government of not following the law. I don't want to talk about the 95 million tumans from without parliament ratification disappeared in your government, and then the parliament, there was a row actually.
Well, Mr. Ahmedinejad, your time is up.
10 minutes is over. One more statement only. I just want to talk about the university degrees a little bit. Mr. Khatami, you called him a doctor. Do you know that based on regulations, one can be called a doctor who has a doctoral degree from university or has had a comprehensive? He has a bachelor's degree in philosophy, but you called him a doctor. Regarding the file of a lady, can I talk to you about an educational record of a lady? Yes, should I say that? Are you sure? Okay.
Yes.
When my turn comes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mussawi.
Well, one of the problems that I have, and which is one of the problems of our country, is the method that we are facing in this session 2, that is creating fake faces for others and adventurism, you know, problems like we have some problems or cases like the interior minister. If the head of the government didn't know that the interior minister had only associated degree but introduced himself as a PhD, so if he didn't know, he is short of information. Otherwise, you know, I don't want to touch it. So on the basis of this, we are pitted against the parliament and against the people, and also the dissertations and PhD, and we consider the thesis and also the certificates as a piece of paper, and then we just have trust in the same person, and contrary to the law, we just, when he was the interior minister, then a contract of $10 billion was discussed at the office of the same interior minister by the head of the state, and then one of his deputies says that I was just passing by the gate of the ministry, and then I realized that they were discussing about the head of a company, and then I joined them. All this create some sort of suspicion about very bad problems in the country, which are really disturbing, and one of the problems that the government faces is these kind of treatments or policies, and when there cannot be when they cannot resist, then they remove the minister, and then another minister is appointed who has some cases regarding Erbil, and he has a lot of problems, and then he has billions of 2 months of riches or hundreds of billions, and then he is put at a place, you know, that is contrary to the criteria that Imam Khomeini set for us. These are all questions, and because, you know, it is said that he's involved in transit of oil and so on. I'm not going to touch them. Let me touch the issue of just evading the rules and regulations of law. I believe that the minor dictatorship just came to power because of evasion of law, because it was a prelude saying to the people that we can evade the law. Reza Khan came to power when the people was used to evasion of law passed by the parliament on the basis of human rights or just prevailing norms and other standards. They were evaded. You know, there are many cases or points here. The government, not only in one case but 2 cases, has opposed the law. And really, I fear that. I'm concerned about it. I don't say that, God forbid, he wants to become a dictator. But suppose that for 8 years a government rejects the law or evades the law and saying that I don't like it and so on. This is selfishness or self-centeredness. Saying that I don't like this, it is not in the interest of the government. It's just